Oscar Wilde was Chinese, apparently. Yeah, it was legal. It was legal then. Are you ready?
No.
Ready for another
What would you do?
show?
It's a rhetorical question. What would you do if I said no? Just not do the show?
I'd wait till you're in the mood to do a show. Then
Not
would just be a long
Tuesday
time.
at 3 a.m.
Oh,
I'm ready.
welcome to the Trout Spinners podcast with your friends Miles Pennell and Gary Forrestal. We are back after an interview. Hope you enjoyed that. We're kind of returning in the same way that Karl returns from his holiday.
In a way, in a sense. But we haven't been on holiday.
No, we haven't. It'd be nicer, wouldn't it?
No, you got on your Secret Santa, didn't you? You got a one-way ticket, just one way, as if you'd stay there forever, to Lanzagrotty. Is that right?
It was, yeah. It was £10. And my friend was actually offended that I didn't want to go. I was like, March in Lanzagrotty.
A return ticket will probably be about 300 quid, but it's just the one way you could do it.
Exactly.
I'm surprised it's a tenner anyway. Tenner, it cost me more to come and see you, so I don't do it.
But they are, though, isn't it? So there are some places that it's actually cheaper. That I still find it mental that trains are so expensive. Like,
in this country, they're not worldwide. If you're listening to this and you're in a different country to the UK, let us know how much your train journeys are. Because I'd be interested to know. I know they're all like Germany. You can travel like the length of the country for 20 euro or whatever. You know, it's not much. But in this country, if I were to go to Edinburgh, which we are going to go to Edinburgh, it's well over 200 quid for a return ticket.
But it's not good enough.
That far.
It's not even good enough. The service isn't that great. I went to one toilet. I went on one train. There was no toilet. Now that is a massive problem for me.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know Miles Pennell, I do. I can assure you, and for myself would be the same. That is a problem. Unless it's like a quick, like tube train or something. Then yeah, of course it's not got a toilet.
I don't mind it for that, but come on, an hour and a quarter to Ipswich.
Why? Every toilet was out of order.
No, there wasn't a toilet on it. I mean, maybe there was. It wasn't one near me. I don't know. It
must have been. That was toilet news, and this week and travel tune in.
Well,
next
I
week
actually can't go on
news.
holiday because I'm in my 30s now, so I've got to start putting the work in.
Don't even. I mean, I can't. That's probably my favourite thing to ever. Tweeted it once for something, and it's so pleasurable and you do it all as one word because it's
exactly. It's nice as hundreds.
No, and 100.
How have you been affected by Storm Eunice?
Very much so. I've been in my flat and it's been exactly the same. So I've been hugely affected. My curtain at the back is blowing quite a bit and it's sort of getting sucked in.
It's annoying, isn't it?
It's been horrendous for me, darling.
It must be windy by the seaside. Gary is based in Brighton, seaside town.
I am based in Brighton. Set back, I would say. Yeah, I do. I love the sea when it's really blowy. We should say there's been storm. Now, what is it?
Eunice.
Storm.
Have to name a storm. Storm Forrestal.
Someone put storms with female names have more casualties because people don't take them as seriously. Like there was some research.
Is that true?
So if it has a male name, you don't get as many casualties because people prepare. Seems like a real storm. I don't know if that's true, but yeah, Storm Eunice or whatever has hit the UK. We don't often get storms. That video you posted with the wheelie bin.
That's true.
Mental.
I know.
That's like a tornado.
There's a video, if you haven't seen it, a wheelie bin literally high above the clouds.
Perfect for this show. Perfect for a tweet for us, but obviously not for the wheelie bin owner.
With the connotations. But how does it get that high?
That's what I'm saying. It was being swept off the ground and then up to that. I mean, if that's the case, easily a child could have been the same. That's what I'm saying. I'm glad they weren't.
Carl's mum was right, because all the schools were shut, so no one could go to school because they get blown into the road.
They would. I seen someone in London, Croydon, I think it is, literally getting blown into the road.
Yeah,
he's on the ground, just sort of rolling. Yeah. So
it is the funniest thing, even though there are casualties. It's still the funniest thing ever, isn't it? I remember there was one time
200 dead.
Well, I'm obviously not happy about that. There was one time Liquid nightclub in Ipswich, right? It says we'd just come out. It was really icy that night because it froze over. And there was a slope outside the entrance and all these young, really blottoed men and women in heels. And as they walked out, they all just fell on their ass and they just like kept sliding, and it was closing time, and it's a one after the other. It was one of those things where that was actually more amusing than being in the nightclub. We were literally watching them for about half an hour, just
offering no help. No help,
I was just literally there. Wait, whoa! That sort of whilst eating your Subway sandwich, and that was very fun.
Oh God, sorry, I've been there slipping over. I'm like Bambi, even if it's just wet, let alone icy. And wind. Yeah, I just didn't. Basically, it affected me. I just didn't go out.
Yeah, well, that's no different to any other day.
It's no different any day. So
I went out
out today.
Oh, that's nice. It's always good to get some fresh air. And you got loads of it. That's exactly why I went out yesterday. I was like, is this indulgent? Is this an indication I've got a real massive problem?
Well, I think it's an indulgent massive problem.
Just blowing down like arms out. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, we're digressing. It is the
we talked about this for an hour.
I don't think people would like that. Join us on Patreon, where we do talk about other stuff. Perhaps Storm Eunice for half an hour and give a small donation. Link in the description if you're interested. Anyway,
that Patreon sounded good.
Sounded good. This week we discussed Series 3, Episode 10. 10, can you believe? We've got 3 left of this series. Originally broadcast on 3rd of January 2004. Karl is back from his visit from Lanzagrotty and decides it's made up of 36 volcanoes that should be filled in with cement. Karl finally reads the Guvna, which is actually in order this time, much easier to follow. The gang wonder how barometers work and comment on the rather nervous-looking daughter on the cover of the calendar. Finally, they're also clueless on China. I'll put a link to the show in the description after that.
What's nothing left to say?
And you can join us when you're ready.
Should we do that thing? We always do that thing and they come back. And coming up, because we forget this as well. Coming up, we're going to have our favourite quotes, plus XFM in the community. And, oh God, we've got to pick a song. I just remembered.
Maybe we don't, because you're so bad at it.
No, I pick good ones.
I'm thinking, really? Do you really?
I do, but they're weird.
Do you want me to come up?
I put in My Heart Will Go On.
You put in one song and you didn't even like it.
Yeah, I know, but it was like, it meant something to
That's
me.
an insult to the feature, and it's an insult to this podcast and our listenership. And both of them will be angry.
We might pick a song later, but if not, we're definitely going to do our favourite quotes and XFM in the community. Because I did a tweet even. I was involved in getting some XFM.
Wow, he's aggregating content.
First, those words.
Initial thoughts. Go.
Of the episode. It's good. It's a good one. I always like the 3 bunched up towards the end of series 3. For some reason in my head there, like how do you do that with some episodes, is you bunch them together and they kind of feel like similar episodes, or there's like a little period and you think, I like that period. It's like series 2, 50 to 55, and you roughly know it in your head. This is the same with me. So I was thinking it was going to be better than it was. It wasn't bad, but there's periods of dull talk that I find dull. But it isn't a bad episode. I think 11 and 12 are better. I just associate immediately with the dog went out for a bone.
That's the last episode, isn't it?
I know. It's the last episode, but I just associate with, and I knew it wasn't this episode, but it's just the goodness.
That's one of my favourite. One of my favourite episodes.
I'm going to die even thinking about it. But it was good.
Die? It's so dramatic.
No, I'm not going to. Like, for example, when they're talking about, I find it as boring listening to them talking about Tolkien stuff as they probably find it watching it, as I would also find it watching it. I find it as boring. And it's not because they're being bad or anything. They're not being entertaining. There's just no way you could do it with being entertaining. I find I'm as bored as they are when they watch Tolkien.
And especially it's not the first time that they've mentioned it as well, because despite Steve's ferocity and against it and his disdain towards it, he's actually watched all 3 films with his family as part of a family thing. And we actually did that in our family because they came out consecutively over 3 years, didn't they? Because they were filmed back to back.
Yeah. Did you watch
there was actually Hobbit? A big. Well, I did watch The Hobbit, actually. That was one of the first films that was on when I started working at Screen on the Green. That film was playing. Lord of the Rings are actually good films. Hobbit is dreadful. Literally dreadful. The book's about a centimetre long and they made it into 3 films.
Well, that Lord of the Rings, they do that as well. I know it's a big
Yeah,
book,
but Lord of the Rings is like 3 books, so it actually makes sense. Like this is like a little novella.
We
But,
love
it's
we love
funny.
Martin Freeman, don't we? Though.
Well, that he goes on to do The Hobbit after they're all slagging it off in this
Yeah,
episode.
yeah.
But
But
no, there is a clique of people online who constantly debating whether Stephen actually is a secret Lord of the Rings fan. I don't know why. I don't know why that speculation has developed.
I can understand that. I didn't realize that it was a big thing online. But if I was to weigh in on that, I'd say, yeah, it could easily be, because it's like someone, you know, with those pastors in America who's so anti-gay, and they always.
I thought you were talking about pastors. I thought you were like,
no, those you know, preachers, and they're always caught with rent boys, and the ones that are the most anti-gay. If you're anti-gay, you're often gay, really deep down. If you're like, I'm not bothered what people think, you know, if you're not bothered, you're usually not gay. If you say you're not gay, so it's like Steve is like one of those pastors with Lord of the Rings. He's like preaching against it so hard. But I would agree with Steve, the little tiny bit that I've seen of those films, and I can't imagine just seeing them all hug at the end. Do they all hug at the end?
They do.
Because I've often wondered,
because the Fellowship splits up and they do. God, I'm talking about Lord of the Rings. The Fellowship splits up and they all go on like different adventures. And at the end, there's a big reunion. You know, after people have died, people have come back, and Frodo's in bed and he's just there, and the light's really bright and it's very sort of heavenly. And then one by one, they all walk in, and it's true. Obviously, the music's playing. There's a really weird like sync with the sound because they're laughing, and Frodo's going, and the music comes up, but the laughs just a little bit out of sync with his mouth, and it's everyone's so happy, and everyone's smiling, and it does go on for absolutely hours. It's so frustrating. But to be honest, the Lord of the Rings criticism, because obviously Steve studied film, but it's actually quite, as much as it was quite cool to like those things, and people, that was very much, I do think they were game changing in terms of, they're a bit like when Jaws or Star Wars came out. They were game changer for Hollywood and special effects. So as cool as it was to like them, it was also, it's now, I think it's seen really cool to hate that sort of stuff again now.
Yeah,
because I don't know, it's just because no one ever puts them up as like the pinnacle of cinema. Very much at the time they were, but I don't think people have I don't think people look back on them now, those films, and go, you know, they were of their time, I think. But then I don't know, things like they popularized things like Game of Thrones, so maybe it is still as huge as it's ever been, the fantasy genre.
Yeah, I guess so. I've just been consistent. I've never liked it. You know, I've never sort of watched it and liked it next. No, not Harry Potter, never watching it. I read about 3 or 4 pages into Lord of the Rings and stopped.
I really, no, to confess, I love Lord of the Rings. I love all that sort of fantasy nonsense. But
do you find it boring, them talking in, say, in this episode? Do you find that
a little bit, because we already know their opinions on it. So it's nothing new.
Yeah, they've done it.
They do the
menopausal
women. Like, there's that one little bit that is quite funny. It's got a Glocklin came into the cave. It's also really not cool. Have a go at someone like bloody E.L. James for writing 50 Shades of Grey, but also admire her business acumen for taking a niche and running with it. You know, writing a bit of fan fiction for Twilight. Oh, well, I'll have a go then. But then that's, you know.
We'll have a go. No, well.
But do you know, hey, a little bit of trivia for you.
Yeah.
You know, he says that Steve's mate says it's the equivalent of an Enya song. Enya is actually on the soundtrack of Fellowship of the Ring.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it was an Enya song.
So it was an Enya song, quite a well-known one. Yeah.
Oh. What's that one? That one
I don't know any Enya songs.
You know the Enya, no, the big one. It's like a. Oh, listeners, if you know, email in what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but I'm going a bit, but it's something like that. It's like sail away, sail away, sail away. That's it.
Dun, 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 dun.
So you can see why I'm going. Oh,
sounded very different to that.
Oh god,
there is a little bit of. I get annoyed with Ricky when he goes, but Tolkien being up there in literature, like, you know what I mean, sort of like Shakespeare, Tolkien. I think you're not allowed to pass judgment on that. When I bet he's not that well read himself. It's like when he's being pompous about Lowry. Like, you can't criticize Tolkien. Tolkien is up there, whether you like it or not. He is.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I don't like the books or the film, but I do recognize he's
That's because you're a
clearly
Philistine.
no. But I know how many people. No, well, I am, but not in this case. I think accurate. But no, he's clearly at the top of his craft. He's sat for that many people to love him. Who's to say Shakespeare? Shakespeare made mistakes and things.
And those people don't like Shakespeare, and that's okay.
Yeah, they don't like Shakespeare now, but Shakespeare was good. He was all right.
Yeah,
He's a good bit of a
I loved him.
Oh,
He's one of my favorite. It's my favorite day
at school. I hated that day.
Oh, I liked Macbeth. That was the only one I did like. Yeah, I didn't like Measure for Measure. That was hard.
I've never done Measure for Measure. We did Romeo and Juliet, and at the end, whilst we'd read the book, like we went round, so Thurston read like a few chapters, a few paragraphs. I love that. That's okay. We got to the end, and then we got to watch the film, which had just come out of the Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes, and we
Romeo plus Juliet, the Baz
and
Luhrmann
no one
film.
had really understood the book. It's like because we were like 13-year-old children, but so we watched the film,
and they think it'll be more accessible because it's got a bit of gun crime and a bit of drag queens in it.
It's sort of modern day.
My worst one was, I remember when I was a teacher back in the day. Yeah, still hilarious, isn't it? Oh, what book is it? It's the book that 10 Things I Hate About You is based on.
Taming of the Shrew.
Yes, I think so. And so that was a book. There wasn't enough copies to go around. So the teacher, and no word of a lie, she said, I
thought you were the teacher.
No, I was shadowing at this point. So I was just shadowing a lesson, a literature lesson, A-level literature this is. He said, there's not enough books. I thought it'd be good if we could watch 10 Things I Hate About You because it's actually based on Taming of the Shrew. I was like, it's also very different. Like Lion King is based on Hamlet. But the last time I read Hamlet, like there was Simba wasn't there, little Pumbaa wasn't there. There was no Hakuna Matata.
I was just about to go. Did they do the song Under the Sea? And I remembered that was Little Mermaid. Yeah, I remember.
And what's that based on? That's based on
that's based
an old
on
fable, isn't it?
The Beastie Boys first album. It's based on
anyway,
that's the randomest thing I could think of. That's a pretty good job, actually. We don't like them talking about Tolkien. It's quite boring. The holiday coach trips I like. That's funny. They're good. They've all got good anecdotes about that.
Steve's anecdote particularly is really good, where he's talking about staying on the coach and sitting there. This and that is exactly what it's like if you go on those excursion and those tour operators stitching you up.
There's a little bit by me, a little bit of planning. Have you ever been on one of those trips?
Yeah, I have. It wasn't so much a trip. I've done lots of holiday excursions. More I've had this year. So, it's just a side note. Yeah. We were coming back from Glastonbury, and you know what it's like after a festival. And
I don't actually.
Well, yeah, you never would do. Okay, so let me fill you in. When you go to a festival, you're absolutely mullered and you're wrecked, and all you want is a nice hot bath and to get rid of your clothes and put everything on a wash. That really comforting feeling when you're at home, you're warm. Anyway, so
I just do that I just do that anyway.
Yeah, without the music and enjoying yourself and being fun and having sociable fun times with your friends.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want it.
I don't want it. So we're coming back, and it was an absolute mission. It was part of like a all-round trip. So he took so many unnecessary stops on the way back, and then he stopped at like service stations for about 2 hours.
For a piss. If he hadn't stopped, you'd have been
but it wasn't just for that. I don't know that if there was a whiff of you're doing it because you want us to spend some money.
But what gain would he have? It's not like your little French fellas who don't understand.
But I don't know.
Did he know all of the people? Like he's got.
No, I think it was probably
stations down the M1.
Yeah. It was just annoying, but there were so many service stations. It's like we're waiting there for 2 hours, and we were literally sat there. And then he said,
I just can't imagine.
It was but I hate waiting. I'm like Ricky in that. I hate waiting.
I'm the same.
And he said, we're going to leave dead on this time as well. And if no one's back on the coach, we're just going to leave without you. I was like, that is so out of order, considering you're making us wait here.
Yeah.
No, I've been on those excursions before, but they're always really rubbish, those excursions. And they do that. They will like take you to the coffee shop and you end up having to pay for.
Oh, yeah.
Always in the middle of nowhere as well. But it's true what Ricky says, when those people are pretty much God on those trips because they just don't
Yeah,
care.
especially when you're foreign, if it's abroad. He is right. That's good for me. Ricky didn't have an anecdote on that section, but again, he's like got wise words. Those are quite wise words. They're simple words if you think, but it's kind of like a good way of explaining it to Karl. And he's right. They're just having a genuine debate. So he's not kind of slagging them off. But Rick is right. And Carl's anecdote and Steve's anecdote, good. I like that section. That kind of boosts it up, the episode overall. And I have been on similar kind of excursions, but I'm trying to think of the most boring place I could think to. I can't think of anywhere like some. I guess when we went to farms, like petting zoos. They're boring, but at least you've got animals there. I've never been to Cotton Real World or, any of those places. But should we do the bit on from Twitter now?
No, let's hold it because I've actually
Miles
got a
in
bit.
charge.
Yeah, it's that good.
Right.
Well, that's good. I've got some reviews from Barometer World if you're interested.
Oh, go on.
From TripAdvisor. Okay.
They're going to be joke ones, aren't they, though? These are going to be...
I can't tell if they're real or not. It's a bit annoying.
I'll tell you if they're real or not.
No dogs, but plenty of barometers. So decided to visit with my husband a very small dog there. Rang ahead to ensure open as appointment is recommended. No dogs allowed, so my husband went in alone. Disappointed by no dogs, even when we were offered to carry in arms. Toilet facilities, excellent. Small but interesting place. This one is definitely fake. Okay, this is called Romantic Road Trip, 4 stars. For our 59th wedding anniversary, I decided to take my...
Sorry, that is just that's the way you start off something. I'm impressed already. It doesn't matter what the rest is. That is just brilliant. No, okay. It's just fantastic. Sorry.
I decided to take my wife to Barometer World as a romantic getaway. We weren't very sure what to expect as neither of us knew much about clocks other than that they tell the time. Do you know what I mean? Like straight away.
You know, a 59th wedding anniversary, just incidentally, would make them at least 89, 90 years old.
When we arrived on my brand new Harley Davidson, I saw her face light up with excitement. In the moment of sheer joy, I thought I'd try popping a wheelie, which made her fall off the back of the bike. I could hardly contain my laughter. Once inside Barometer World, I was quite surprised at how packed it was. We could hardly move whilst we were in there, and which wasn't ideal as my wife had just had surgery on her hip and she was slowing me down. Which is quite a nice sentence. We were taken on a tour which we had learned that barometers can control the weather, yet they are unable to tell the time, which made it impossible for me to track how long the tour went on for. My attention was soon taken away by a large moth I'd spotted on the wall. It was enormous. I named it David Hasselmoth, and it pretty much goes inside like that.
I mean, it's good. It's very, very good. Yeah, I think.
Then this one's good. 3 stars. A bit specialist. If you were into barometers, thermometers, and that scientific stuff, this is definitely the place for you.
Okay, that's good. That's a vague one. No, that's quite sweet. I might write one myself.
I bet you are the sort of character that does write reviews for places you've been.
When we were in Edinburgh, I wrote a review. I won't even go into it, but after sort of several days solid working on it, we got a full refund. But I wrote this review, hugely long review, and they took it off straight away because they were
Can they do that?
Guidelines. Yeah. So I just left. I couldn't be bothered to write it again. I was saying things that were probably libelous and, well, they're not slanderous. I could prove them in the court of law. They couldn't disprove them. But I just firmly left a 1 star. But no, I don't tend to review. But that I was going to leave. I've left them a really proper review that said, yeah, they were so terrible. Anyway, so I did leave a review then, but I don't leave a review usually. You'd only use a review if you love something or if you hate it. Most things in life are just like,
that's what I mean. You can't trust them, can you? Most people are a bit nonplussed by things.
Exactly. You get bad reviews. They might be a good place, but they say they annoyed a small number of people. That kind skew it.
I don't think I could get that excited or angry about something. I mean, I was angry on that trip, but most of the time you go, that was all right. It was all right.
Did you review it?
My expectations of holidays, I am the same as Karl. You walk into a hotel room. What was it like? Clean. That's all you want.
Yeah.
I'm the same as that. Like, I get a bit. Yeah, you obviously want it to be nice. Like, a bit luxury is a bit nice, but I'm not into like the all-inclusive holidays that Karl goes on. I've only been on one, and there was We went to Egypt, Sharm, and it was exactly the same. You get chicken. It's all just themed food, isn't it? I was just finding that such a funny image. Just a little chicken breast with a little like nacho hat.
Yeah, that's
Like
Spanish night.
But then we went.
You have a little bracelet, don't you, to show them that you are the all inclusive. I remember I've been on one.
I feel just like it's the same way I feel about all you can eat buffets. Just think, don't need it. And then we got a shisha. This in Egypt, and little dwarf brought out the shisha.
No, didn't.
It's true.
No, it's too like Carl's story. Okay,
I'm allowed to have one like Carl story, and that was the only time. And there's little, and he walked over, and the shisha was so
actually.
It was so big, shisha.
And was it bigger than him?
Yeah.
Did you start eating him on the spit? Put him on the spit instead.
I like a shisha, me.
I do like a shisha, yeah. Like when people slag off like doner kebabs, so I actually quite like doner.
No,
I know that's different, very different to shisha, but I'm saying I like that kind of that like long cooked meat. It's similar.
I'm talking about the smoking thing.
Oh, shisha. Oh,
yes.
Shish kebab. Shish kebab is a thing as well. You know that.
Yeah, I know that.
But okay, so
that whole time with the story, what you thought he brought over an enormous shisha kebab?
Shish kebab. Yeah, that's what I thought. But anyway, regardless, what did you smoke him then? Okay, I'll change that. Did you smoke him? Smoke his.
No, it was good. Like shisha, I love a shisha, but they are so bad for you. Apparently, like one like puff is the same as smoking 10 fags. Apparently,
yeah, that sounds like a lot of old bollocks to me. So I don't believe that. That sounds rubbish. I'm assure you, it's not the case.
I tell you what,
it's not great.
Yeah, it annoys me in this show. A couple of Ricky laughs where he really goes for it, and you're like, I don't know why he laughs that hard. What are your New Year's resolutions? I think before you speak, and he goes. You're like, there is no way that is that funny.
No, probably
and
not.
And then another one where he says, that's what it should be called. The clues don't work about Rockbusters. Like,
yeah, they're kind of in a funny zone then, just the chat. So I can believe that one more than I believe the first one. Yeah, so I hadn't really thought of that. And they do the thing again that they do, and it seems all natural, like the show. And we think of it as all natural, but Carl in a film always has to be set up. Well, it doesn't always, but today it had to be set up again. Like there's certain things that had to come up earlier in the show or it wouldn't work. So it kind of, when they're asking questions and it feels organic at the beginning, when they're talking about, it's like Mars, that all needed to come up before Karl in the film would work. So that I don't like sort of thinking about it like that, because it's like, it wasn't natural. It didn't come out naturally. Because it can't be. And this is not the only example of it on this show, but Karl in the film only works if they've talked about specific things earlier in the show, and this is one of them. Like when they're asking about his holiday, they would ask about it anyway, but that's not, you don't think about it when you're watching it. I didn't, but when you listen back, you'll think, oh yeah, that's not. Of course, they're bringing that up because they knew that Karl's doing Karl in the film, so it's not new to them what it's going to be, and it's not cheap, but it's not ideal.
I get a bit annoyed at this Karl in a film. I think it's by far the worst one. I mean, and he knows that as well.
One. I was going to say about it, I don't think it's that bad in terms of quality, but I was going to say it doesn't work that well because there's so much noise going on. There's so much background noises everywhere. Like it's just noise, basically. You can't really get what they're saying, but even if you could, you can't overhear Ricky. Ricky seems like I've listened to him really closely before, and it sounds like, well, Ricky might be laughing there, but it's really hard to tell, and it's too loud. Yeah, it doesn't really work. It's not terrible, but
I think it's also because all of the other films that he picks are quite well known. It's quite hilarious that this one's Tim Burton's reimagining of Planet of the Apes, which is an atrocious film. Like really awful when you compare it to, the Charlton Heston one. Like, it's just really wank. Like
the dialogue that he put, the time before time. If she's being serious and that isn't without irony in the script, then I agree with you.
I mean, it's pretty much like every other Tim Burton film that's ever been made. Just super campy. Like, yeah, so melodramatic. Awful.
Like Peter Mandelson.
Well, has any of us ever met any gay people?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Love that line. Live it.
So yeah, and he even acknowledges. He says that it was a bit of a rush. Apparently, according to Internet Movie Database, the 2001 remake, The Planet of the Apes, was not filmed in Lanzarote. So those cheeky little northern blokes that he met were clearly telling a couple of fibs.
Okay, where was it filmed?
Plenty of places that weren't Lanzarote. I haven't got the doc open now, but loads of other places.
Oh, that's good prep. He's the one who does prep as well. Think of that. How bad that was.
I had it open and I thought it would be too boring just to list out countries.
No, I didn't want a whole list. I just wanted rough. It just should be interesting to me.
Morocco.
Like, how did
Let's call it Morocco.
Yeah. The racist. You just, I know what you're saying, that they're all the same.
Hey, how sad are you when you hear about a New Year's Eve party with Karl, Suzanne, Martin Freeman and Amanda, and they're no longer together, despite the fact they do act together in Sherlock and things like that.
Yeah. Are they still friends though, I think?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Because Martin Freeman got so big that he probably had more attention. I don't know, not criticizing her. No, I'm not saying anything about her. I'm just saying, like, Martin Freeman. No, but you do a lot of these relationships with a famous man will break down. Don't you think? Because the man gets loads of offers. I'm not saying Martin Freeman would have done that sort of thing with cheat, but it's just well, no.
I don't think that's what happened with him. But I think what annoys me is just that Steve wasn't invited. Upsets me a little bit.
Oh right, yeah, does it? Yeah. No, but that's funny because they took. I don't know. It makes it funnier. But yeah, I totally get it. Why not just invite Steve? He might not have been able to come.
I think they're like social circles. To be honest, they were at different stages of their life, weren't they? Like Ricky's always been in a long-term relationship. Stephen wanted to meet women. You're not going to go out with Ricky to meet. He's going to be a pretty shit wingman, isn't he? You're going out to meet women.
Hey, it's Ricky Gervais. Actually, that's one thing I'd say about what I was saying about Martin Freeman before, and I can understand why they split up. I'm impressed with Ricky because there's never been any hint of that he did. Imagine the offer. I'm not going to say he just will get so many offers, like tacit or real direct. But he's obviously, I believe that he's never cheated, which is it shouldn't be impressive. It should just be like, that's the way it is. But
yeah, sadly it is. It is like that these days, isn't it? People are into all sorts, aren't they? They're into all sorts.
Yeah, we know that.
Single
little eggs.
I thought we could play the animal game. Do you want to play that?
Oh, okay. I was going to try and put that out on Twitter, but
no, it'd be more fun if we can play it. So, shall I go first?
Well, should we do it with animals, or what about if we do it with something random?
I think we're going to have to do it with animals because I don't know. I've prepped for animals. So
okay. Bear in mind, Mars is prepped, and whatever.
I haven't prepped it. I'm joking. I haven't. How could you prep this?
This animal.
Look at a zoo catalogue.
Have a last letter that is going to be almost impossible to have an animal.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to do that.
Is it a fox?
Okay. Actually, let's start. I'll start. Right. You've got to be quite quick. Octopus.
Squid. It's the same
dog.
Thing. Oh,
You're shit.
Giraffe.
Hey,
giraffe.
Egg? No. Elephant.
No, you can't. Tamarind monkey.
What? You're not allowed to have that. I bet you don't even know what a tamarind monkey is.
Yeah.
Why? Zebra. I was actually zebra.
Zebra.
What is Y? What is an animal with Y? Okay, I think we can say you won that, but don't you just? What is Y? What could you choose?
Yeah. So is that I won? What is that? Was there money involved there, or?
Hey, just a thumbs up, and a general pat on the back. Well done. You know more about the natural world.
You get in touch with us.
Well, we're going to meet in Trout news. We're gonna have a little meetup, Gary and I. I'm gonna meet you in the flesh. For Stuart Lee next week in Brighton.
We'll be naked, yeah. Yes.
And my mum's coming, so that'll be fun.
Yeah,
you can buy me a drink then. And I've remembered from the last time I saw you, it's actually your round to start off with.
The last one. I know that you would remember that. But
I'm joking.
I would anyway.
Yeah, no,
your mum's
you will.
Martin's mum bought me a drink once, and Mars got really annoyed because she's like, "You shouldn't be doing it.
What?
You shouldn't be buying him a drink." Yeah, that's what I was like.
Say that.
I'm not even getting into that.
He's so angry. These are the sort of resentments you hold on to in a long-term relationship, working relationship. Yeah. I love Steve's brilliant example of Steve's storytelling is talking about the gift buying for his parents.
Yeah, Steve is the best at telling anecdotes about his life. Karl has the most interesting ones because of his crazy childhood and things like that. But Steve is the best at telling them.
Yeah.
He's better than Ricky. His gift buying. The gleam.
The gleam.
Actually, that's one of my favourite quotes. Gleam. I can't do it right. Gleam.
It is fun. I might melt that down.
Yeah.
I do love. They do sound like such little West Country characters, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to meet them one day.
Yeah, I always find it really weird when they're I don't know. I find it quite comforting. Like you were just talking about relationships, but men and women who have been together for ages, like particularly in marriages, I just think it's so strange. I never had that growing up. I used to go around my friends' houses after school, and most of my friends had split up, like parents split up, and you go around people's houses and their parents are still together, and they just, the way they are, they're so suburban and quite sheltered people. That sounds like an insight. Yeah. It's not. It's kind of just how you see them and how they were. But I found it so odd that they were together. I was like, what? Why?
I know. Because you were always saying to me, where's the women? That's what I thought. And I'm like, where's all the women? Both of them. But yeah, I agree. But they're probably split up now. But we can just a nice little thought.
Good.
They're probably split up now. We should play a little
like Martin and Amanda. Oh god, it's sad, isn't it? It is sad. Have you noticed that Ricky deliberately reads out Karl's text like an idiot? He goes, and there was a water, and they showed us science with the thing, and there was a Swede woman.
I think he's just not. Ricky's not good at reading something from a cut. Like, there's other examples.
I know someone like that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we've got the talent, exactly. So there's a lot of similarities, right? But yeah, he's not that good at doing that. He probably was. And you know what he's like with a phone. If he was reading it off a piece of paper, it'd be different. But he hates reading off the phone. Remember that time he said it, and I believe him because it's so weird if you didn't. That time he couldn't put in WC1, so he wrote out WC1. So he's not very technologically.
I think we sort of forget as well, like how far technology's come since then as well, because it was just text messages, wasn't it?
There wasn't an iPhone at all. It hadn't come out.
2004.
And that's another thing that dates it as well. When Karl says, the Trade Center thing, he's just kind of casually putting it out there. Even now it would be a bit naughty. But back then, remember, it was only like 2 years on. So it's much more fresh in the mind. But they mentioned the Trade Tower, Twin Tower thing quite a few times, kind of in passing, like a light-hearted thing. But it's just kind of amazing to me that it was.
Makes sense. When the Trade Center, they filled it in, move on.
Yeah,
he does say something lovely where he goes, we've got an hour here. I sort of said, it just like little Karl nuggets of wisdom. You've got an hour here. So they could sort of, I could go to the funeral of someone who I loved in the ground and don't spend an hour around it.
Yeah, that's a classic line. Brilliant. And then Ricky again makes it better. Like, that's a classic Karl Ricky going, oh yeah, I'm sort of shut up in all that magma. Like,
yeah, that's a good phrase, that one.
But he makes it better. That's the classic that's the perfect kind of 1-2 that they play. It's a good episode. Don't get me wrong, it's not a bad one. It's not up there with my favourites, and probably how I'd remembered it, grouped in with the last 3 of this series, I'd remembered it a bit more fondly than I found it when I listened back.
Yeah, I found more things in it than I remember, but I did find what is always good, some favourite quotes, which we've got coming up.
Oh, he's done. Okay. No, not even going to have a break.
We can have a break. Let's have a break. That's the best bit.
How's this?
It's better. All right? It's much better. If you could maintain that level.
If anyone like Mars says, he sounds like he takes over the conversations because he's louder than me. I never knew that. So
I don't think that. No, I mean,
podcast@gmail.com. That's good doing a little link like that.
Yeah, it was not bad. No. Big words.
Sweetness podcast.
Do you ever listen to, by the way, this episode comes off the back of a best of. Do you ever listen to the best of?
I haven't listened to that best. No, I don't, because I'm so familiar with all of them. So I don't.
If you do stick with them, because they do links and they're like between them. So there's things to enjoy in them. But you've obviously heard everything before.
Yeah, I've heard it before, but I just haven't for a while.
Yeah.
I would have heard their links. There's a couple of times where they do compilations quite close to one another, and their links are quite similar as well. Like I think they talk about bush and riding around on a three-wheel bike. I think they talk on 2 compilation shows links.
Yeah,
the same story. So yeah, it's good. But what's their highlights that they put in?
Oh, I can't remember. I haven't watched it. Listened to it.
Okay, well, anyway, that's good. So, favourite quotes. Go on, you start.
Okay. Well, do you really want me to start? Because you know what I'm going to say.
No, okay, could I start?
Yeah, go for it.
I just want to say, to reap the benefits in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and 100.
It's so applicable now because we are actually both in our 30s.
That is a fact.
Yeah, my one is no crabs or anything. They wouldn't bother with Lanzagrotty. All right, that is such a brilliant, understated clip. I love that. It's just not even crabs throw sand at. No crabs.
Come on, Kathy.
Dad, no. That is a brilliant bit of like ad libbing actually by Ricky. Oscar Wilde was Chinese apparently. Yeah, it was legal. It was legal then.
Well, this is linked to my one.
That's such a funny joke, making the connection and just juxtaposing it. Yeah. Keep the Chinese stuff, take the gay out.
Because they know that he knows that in the listeners' minds, the two are linked anyway. So there's enough to do that. Well, this brings me to my one. Don't ever take this out of context, anyone. Have any of us ever met any gay people? Have any of us ever met any gay people? It's like one of the classic lines.
Have you met more gay people or more Chinese people in your life, Gary?
Me? Well,
we live in Brighton. So.
Chinese person. Well, yeah, gay, I'd say.
Yeah,
just from when I was born. First thing I saw was
gay woman.
People. A woman. All of the time, we didn't know. But no, I've met lots of gay fellas. You can't say it like that. I've met lots of gay people. Lots of. I know a couple of Chinese people. Yeah. No, I think. I think you can say Chinese like Britain.
Oh, can you? Okay, fair enough.
But it's the same word as
Chinese. You know the people.
I'm not sure about that. Enough to say. So
you know the people at your local Chinese takeaway don't count as
why not?
People you know. You'll get chicken with a little prawn cracker on it.
Yeah, it's Chinese night. Well, yeah, I know you're Chinese takeaway. Yeah,
it's just Chinese.
It's Chinese night again.
Oh,
I do get 3 prawn crackers if I get a lemon chicken as well as the chicken chow mein because it costs a bit more. They put in 3 prawn crackers.
The rice is right, mate. The rice is always right.
You know what I did? Because I did the other day. I ordered Chinese to collect because it's at the end of my street. So I went to collect. And I'd ordered it from a completely different Chinese that was miles away that has a similar name. So they had my meal ready. And but she offered to do me a meal. Right. I still had to pay for it again.
So what? She offered to take you out on a date?
No, a meal. Do me a meal. Because she knew because I was like, where's my thing? And I showed her the order code, and she was like, this is that we're not Magic Walk. We're
Magic Walk.
Yeah.
So
there is no such thing as the Magic Walk. I should have known. Walks aren't magic, you know. Anyway, whose turn is it?
Okay, my one. And they go, and walking and shagging.
That is what they sounded like as well. Okay, I just love this. I love just the way he says it. I'll try and say it right. No, the gates bit. What's Gareth trying to do? You ignoramus. It's just the way he says it so quickly. When Karl's so earnestly going, well, the gates, Gareth. No, the gates bit. What's Gareth got to do? You ignoramus. Lovely.
Well, my next one is again another Ricky-ism, a Gervais-ism.
Oh, I know it's going to be literally. Oh, sorry.
That is in there, but this one's $4.99.
$4.99.
Yeah,
that's good. And then I've spoiled it, but literally.
Oh, he does it again. So some crap in a jiffy bag.
No, but it's funnier the first time because he's not expecting.
My one is this is when he's talking about gift buying. Suzanne being in the airport, getting him to buy him a game, and he says so that was good, but I was like, right, hang on a minute, and how much I spent, and then it's just the quote I'm putting in is. It's when Ricky goes, oh, for...
Yeah.
Because he And I know how much I spent. Oh, because he knows. Because he knows.
I don't think he's really like that much, Carl. He knows that that's funny. I can't imagine him being too.
He did though. Suzanne got him another game.
I know Suzanne's got a good job in sports media, but Carl would have been earning much more money at this point. I bet Carl did pay for a lot.
Head of production.
Yeah. Gleam. Never get that right. Gleam. Now I've got one more.
I've got 4, but I can blitz through them really quick.
I'll do a couple and then I'll do one.
Well, nothing because it was all in Spanish.
Okay, I'm going to do my one then. Okay, go on. I don't want to miss this opportunity. All right, an otter.
Damn, I wanted to say that.
Well, don't so wish our show was called that.
Yeah, I know. It'd be so much better. All right, an otter. And some sort of bit. I love that bit, actually. I forget about that bit as it gets towards the end because they're talking about New Year's resolutions. And that great, it's not a quote, but give to charity, you know. And so I believed all of them apart from the give to charity. Well, you've always got to break one of your New Year's resolutions, which is just the classic one. And my last one is 20 offers of marriage. Does that annoy you, Steve?
Yeah, fantastic. Love it.
Yeah. That's brilliant. What are your favourite quotes? Email in spinnerspodcast@gmail.com or on Twitter, spinnerspodcast. And we've got lots and lots of your, not that much, but we've got enough of your correspondence to see us through to the end of this show. So are you excited about that?
Well, I'm really excited. We've got enough, and no more, and no less. Just enough to fill a hole that we didn't need to fill anyway, but we can just fill it with stuff. Rubbish.
We could just fill it up. Well, in this case, fill it up with cement. If our show's the metaphor, you know.
This is the volcano, dormant volcano of the show. You know, where we're sort of there's nothing going to explode in talent. There's nothing that you just fall inside.
Because there's no propulsion either. There's no chemistry. There's nothing. There is such thing as the the Soul Weighs an Ounce thing. It's just on one of my tabs. Don't know if you're interested, but apparently there is a famous hypothetical experiment.
I know it.
McDougall. Have you heard about that? McDougall, yeah. He was a physician and he hypothesized that souls have a physical weight and attempted to measure the mass lost by a human when the soul departed the body. McDougall, I can't say that name, attempted to measure the mass change of 6 patients at the moment of death. One of the 6 subjects lost 3/4 of an ounce, which is 21.3 grams. And this is an experiment, apparently.
Yeah, and I think it was a load of bollocks, though. That's probably what Carl's referring to, is that, but it's like Carl's referring to that person's. This wasn't recent.
Yeah, and all this stuff is stuff that he hears, he just doesn't read on.
Yeah, it was like some people had said it weighs an ounce, or they said 21 ounces, but he just sort of, in his simplification mind, made it an ounce. But yeah, I've heard that. But obviously, we know. I mean, come on. I mean, probably when someone dies at the moment of death, a lot of the air will leave them.
Themselves.
Kind of breathe out. Yeah, they're probably like, sort of, there's less on the table. So.
Not for the first time.
Imagine not treating. Imagine if someone was ill and you said, right, sorry, just instead of treating you, we're going to put you on these scales just in case, and we're just going to leave you wait to die. We're not going to treat you. Why am I on scales?
Nan,
I told you, explain scales.
Nan, you're an organ donor. Well, do you want to take it one step further and hop on these scales?
Yeah. Don't just sign your house over to me first.
Hey, talking about weird theories and stuff. Do you remember our friend Louis Hesse-Antel?
Yeah.
And he came up with the faulty tooth theory, which is apparently the meaning of life as dictated by, in Douglas Adams' book, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the meaning of life is 42. And he came up with this theory, this is Louis, that there were many times where 42 was mentioned in the show, and here are some more. He said, thanks for entertaining the theory. A little faulty tooth update. There were 42 midgets versus the lion. This was the anecdote in the podcast, if you remember. Their agent supposedly made £42 lying about the signed BAFTA bag being for charity. That's in series 1. And he said, I'll stay alert for you on this front. That is so strange though, isn't it? There is something in it, surely.
I'll tell you, this is well known. Like it's known as it's in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Yes, we know that from that, but it's psychological. There's a reason 42 is the most likely figure you're going to pluck out of your head if you're just, if I say guess a number between 1 and 100, most people will guess 42. Not most, more than like 50%, but that would be by far the highest. It would still be low. There'll still be people guessing all sorts of numbers, but 42 more likely
What
to be just wiped out there than any other number. There's something about it. It's just very nicely, it's halfway, but not exactly halfway. It's not towards the end or the beginning. It's why doctors have.
What does he mean though when they says that the meaning of life is that the joke? Is that it's a number and not like a reason or something?
The meaning of life doesn't. Can you infer that from a number?
I've really showed my ignorance there, haven't I?
Yeah, well,
by not understanding it.
I've shown my intelligence, so
Well, and that's why he still hasn't had a job for many weeks. What?
I've just got to get paid. Get paid to do my stuff.
Do you know? I did think of you the other day, though. Do you remember when they were doing the figures for crime? And this, I'm not going to get into politics, listeners. Don't worry.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And they said, oh, it's actually going down if you discount the fraud.
Say if you discount fraud, but they didn't put fraud in, and then people noticed.
That's what I mean. And I thought, that's like, Then I thought of you. I was like, oh, Gary used to work in fraud.
About it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
I still do in a way because my research. I'd never say the word research, but my research is in fraud, sort of roughly area.
That's one of my favourite things in a way.
That day, but I'll put this in my. I was going to say doctorate. Does that sound arrogant?
It does.
Cut that out. I'll put this in my writing. And,
that sounds more pretentious. Sorry, should have said that.
No, okay. I'll put this on a piece of paper.
Memoirs.
No, memoirs. As if.
Yeah.
You'd read that.
Your mum? No, she wouldn't.
Oh, she wouldn't. Not interested.
Luckily, my mum's quite interested in you in a weird way.
Yeah, my dad's really interested in you. Weirdly.
Yeah,
so
quite
it's
right.
Like a love thing.
They work together, don't they? This correspondence is from Daryl Cisco. He is a new listener. So, hello, Daryl. Hello, friends, Miles and Gary. I am very new to your show, but I already feel so compelled to write to you. I am a 35-year-old American living in Canada, and I've loved these shows for a good deal of my life. I discovered the XFM shows way back in 2006 to 7 through a bit of a path. For the sake of making the long and riveting coming-of-age story short, it went like this. US Office, which I've only seen about 4 episodes, and those have gotten chuckles at best. The Office proper, extras, Meet Ricky Gervais, stand-up specials, for which I had to buy a non-regional DVD player and buy DVDs off Amazon, podcasts, XFM. So he's done the full... the full discography.
Really? What order? Did you say what order you did?
That was the order.
That's the order. Okay, interesting.
Meet Ricky Gervais as well, because that doesn't ever come up when we talk to listeners.
No, I put it on what's your favourite Ricky stand-up show, and then some people mentioned it, I think, in the comments. It was kind of like after The Office, wasn't it? But before the podcasting, like he's not a good interviewer.
Yeah, that's the joke, though, isn't it?
He's a good interviewee. Yeah, I know, but it didn't work enough, obviously, to kind of.
Actually, there's very funny sketches in Meet Ricky Gervais where he has Steve's playing like his sort of perverted agent, and he gets Ricky to do things. Anyway, I'm digressing. I've never met anyone who was interested in XFM outside of forums on Pilkopedia, which I was very bad at keeping up with. Do check out, incidentally, Daryl. Do go over to Reddit because there's a great thread there, and that's pretty much all they talk about. Those times now seem like an age ago, but those shows were an everyday and night thing for me. I've still been going back to them on and off over the years, and every time it's an amazing journey. Then one day to find your podcast was just shocking to me. Shocking to us, I'll tell you. The fact that people were still listening to these beloved shows and felt as strongly as I did was so heartbreaking in a good way. Just so happy to hear others exploring these old radio shows with the same fascination I have is beyond amazing. Thank you for doing your podcast. It's so much fun, and it's great to know that there's still a community for this wonderful piece of old media. All the best.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, that's interesting. Especially, and he's the Canadian. That was the same.
Yes.
Canadian.
Well, he's American, but he's living in Canada. If you were listening,
it's all the same, really. Joking, but yeah, no, it's interesting, very interesting. Thank you for going through your sort of journey and detailing it.
And hopefully, there's got to be other XFM listeners in Canada. Oi?
Yeah, we've had one. We've had one who met his wife, who was Australian. She flew over from like Australia to Canada, which must be like the longest flight. I don't know if you go backwards, like over the Pacific. But anyway, they're together now. He was a little Canadian fella. We
were talking about this the other day. I don't know why. Someone said, right, if you fly from, I've got to get this right. If you fly from America to Australia, Why do you have to go one way?
There is a reason to do with the.
Like, why can't you go? Does that make sense? What I'm saying, as
Yeah,
you wouldn't go. You wouldn't go. I don't know the names of the oceans, which probably
Why
would
do you
help.
go west, not east? Yeah.
That's it.
You go east, not west.
Well, it could be east or west because no one knows.
No, it's east. It's always you go east back. You go from Australia, you go west back. They don't like to fly over the Pacific because of radio controls and things and weather.
Really?
So, and bear in mind the other thing is it's far more distance than you imagine. It's not just like they're quite close together.
Obviously
it's huge. Obviously, to go the other way is huge as well. But yeah, so it's not that much less distance. And it's a nightmare for like the trackers. I think, if your aircraft's going to come down, well, I think about it'd be better to crash or land on water, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's what you're told.
Know. Yeah, email in. That will become
spinnerspodcast@gmail.com.
You can be like Daryl and Louis and have your emails read out by Miles there.
Bloody hell!
He's a lot of words. You don't hear about that. You don't hear the words he trips over. He cuts them all out, but he trips a lot. And if I did it, I'd trip even more. Yeah.
There was a couple of polls that we put out, or a couple of debate starters on our Twitter that we wanted to share with you as well. Gary asked, "What's the most ridiculous yet brilliant tourist attraction you've ever been to?" And we've got a response from the Club That Wouldn't Die, ASFC. Stockley Sweets at Oswald Whistle Mills to see the world's biggest pear drop. It's still there, I think. Also attended the World Gravy Wrestling Championship at a pub in Snacksteads, Rossendale, saving up to go to Monkey World. Abort!
Yeah, that's good. But I don't understand the biggest pear drop. What
pear drop, like the sweet?
Pear drop. Well, why doesn't someone just make a bigger one? It's quite easy to make that bigger. I mean, why would you?
You do it.
I'm trying to answer my own question. Well, I probably.
So why would you want? I don't want anyone to make pear drops. Full stop. I certainly don't want the biggest pear drop.
Well, so you don't like pear drops? You don't even want other people to enjoy them.
I don't think anyone.
Want other people.
No, I don't. I don't. I think there's. Do you know
now, ladies and gentlemen, calls himself MP as well.
What are your top 3 sweets? Quick, top 3 sweets. Gummy sweets.
No. I can't be. The non-sugar coated cola bottles, but not the fizzy ones.
Yeah.
Then I've got.
That's such a terrible choice.
Well, I'll show you. Well, this is my favourite. But you can see how much I've got through here.
Oh, jelly beans.
Oh, that's a 1.5 kilogram tub, and I've gone at the end.
So that's your favourite sweet, a cola bottle. Oh my god, what else? What is that?
Snakes.
Snakes. You got jelly snakes.
Yellow-bellied snake. Well, you're weird because I never see it. Actually, remember that pub we went to, the Barley Mow? They did sweets behind the bar. We would have sweets there.
Yeah.
But then I just see you sometimes munching on sweets after you've been to visit your family for some reason. You just seem to come back with sweets, and you're like.
Well, I've got like a real, you know when you go into your grandma's house and they always give you like mint imperials and like Werthers and toffees and weird shit that you get there. Anyway. Don't know why we're talking about that.
You're doing a show, that's why.
Gary, I'm bored of talking to you, mate. So I'm thinking we should wrap this up.
We're not going to pick a song. I don't.
Look, we can pick a. Look, if you want to pick a song, we'll pick a song.
I haven't got one. I'm theme from
Do you
Friends.
Not?
Is that okay?
No. Why are you picking the worst? Do you know this just highlights the difference in us? Because I'm, as you know, a West End superstar now that I've joined the choir. So I actually know all about music and singing. And you're still listening to the Rembrandts. That's what you're doing.
No, not that. Yeah, I don't check out their B-sides. But
Gary, I was going to say, I was going to do it. I was going to do. Well, life didn't always have to be this way. Your life's a joke. You're broke. Your love life's been away. Is that how it goes?
Hey, I want to put it in something like that.
We're like Friends, aren't we? We're like Friends off that sitcom Friends.
Yeah, we always have. I always say to Miles, "Get a beer. Have you got a beer in?" He's like, "No, we're not friends."
Bad decision. I'll tell you to have a glass of wine. Goodness me.
Yeah, he's drinking wine out of a little beer glass.
Well, it's all I had available him. Anyway, we will be having a beer and a glass of wine together next week, which I'm deeply excited for.
May or may not be recorded. We don't know at the moment. We'll certainly record soon.
Well, the issue we've got is because obviously my mum's coming and we can't record for my mum. No. I'm not saying it's an issue. I'm saying we can't record if my mum's there because it would just be a bit awkward, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, no, we might do it with her there.
Well, unless she hops on the podcast. So I don't know. Maybe we'll do a Patreon with my mum next week or something like that.
Yeah, you have
How
to
does
join
that sound?
Patreon. Get emoji
Tease them.
Patreon. If you're not on Patreon, go to Patreon.
Yeah, Gary, how much should people, if they go over to Patreon, how much should they donate?
Well, ask me every week. Sometimes I go really low. Sometimes I do like a penny. Sometimes I say 100 quid. It's hard to keep
I would never
answering
say a
in
penny.
funny way.
I would never
In
say-
in a real way, look, a fiver's nice. But a fiver I think is like, that's a standard sort of amount you'd imagine paying for most services. Like
a good service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever you want.
Exactly.
I mean, we set a low bar quality wise, but we don't set a low bar on Patreon.
But no, we do have lots of fun guests in the pipeline. What sort of stuff in the pipeline? More of these, really.
Well, yeah, more of these. Ian Morris.
Walks for Mencap.
Ian Morris, yeah. No, we're going to interview someone.
Yeah.
But we're trying to do a few normal shows on the road. This is coming up. We're going to do to kind of celebrate. We don't know, either ending one series and getting to series 4 or the beginning of series 4. We're going to do another live stream, and then probably another one when we finish series 4, another live stream, because Mars loves them, and he loved it from word 1. He was like, "Oh, we were." As strange as honestly, I couldn't on the phone afterwards. He was like, "When can we do another live stream? I really want to do one." No, we work through our issues there, but we both like doing live streams now, and we're going to do a little live stream, but that won't be for a few weeks.
Yeah, and we'll give you lots of ample time, and we'll make sure the announcements go out so you don't miss out. Because last time we had upwards of 25 people listening. It was madness. But for now, it has been great doing this show. You've been listening to the Trout Spinners Podcast, gmail.com, Spinners Podcast on Twitter. I hope you haven't been too affected by the storm if you're based in the UK.
And if
you're not,
by our show.
do you know what? There's lots of wild weather about, and Daniel McIntyre knows better than others, doesn't he?
Well, where is he during the storm? I haven't heard from him once. That's the thing.
No, he's been keeping quiet, hasn't he? Anyway, guys, stay safe, and we'll speak to you soon.